So I'm Adam Green. I run a consulting company that helps people grow their Twitter accounts and try to reach the right people with Twitter. And I've been doing that with Alpha for a couple of months. Okay, it says it's on now. Great. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to mention is the hashtag that we're using for the conference is AlphaDev, #AlphaDev. That will be for the conference and then later be used for the developer community that I'm going to be talking about. I just wanted to start with showing you what happens when you get people starting to use a tag effectively. This is a tool called Topsy, Topsy.com, and it's not quite real time, but reasonably close to it. And it's showing that we're getting quite a good amount of buzz going around that tag, AlphaDev. So these are all the tweets that use that tag. What I'm going to talk about today is a community that we're starting today, and I'll be bothering people for the next couple of days to try to get them into this community, trying to figure out what you do with Twitter. And so before I get into that, let me try to figure out what you do with Twitter. How many people here are using Twitter at this point? Small. That's about what I expected. Of the people who are not using Twitter, how many people found it really hard to get started with, where you tried it and didn't get a lot of reaction? Okay. Well, one of the biggest problems with Twitter is when you start, there's no one there. No one hears you. No one knows what you're saying. So one of the ways to help people use it is to help them gain followers. The biggest secret of Twitter is that followers equals buzz, equals an audience. And so what we want to do is help you gain followers. So the real point is once you gain followers, you can use it in lots of ways. You gain a presence that will be seen by other developers, that will be seen by clients. So your clients may not look for you on Twitter, but after they're considering you, they can look at your Twitter account and see the kind of interactions that you have. So we're going to try to help you gain followers. And to do that, you basically have to follow. The simple rule of gaining followers is you follow first. If you start a Twitter account and just tweet, you will not be gaining followers. Unless you're a Kardashian, you don't get huge numbers of followers by yourself. But if you follow the right people, those people will follow you back. So we're going to show you a tool that you'll be able to use to find the right people, and then they'll follow you back, and you'll grow a presence. So let me switch to that tool. Now this is on the Alpha Software site. It's at alphasoftware.com/twitter.asp. And I'll repeat that a couple of times. If you go there at first, it'll ask you to log in with Twitter. I'm going to ask you not to do that right now. This system is not scaled for 100 people to suddenly log in at exactly the same time. But once it goes into production and people are joining it over time, it should work fine. The basic idea is that once you join this system, you're presented with a list of people that you can follow. And I'll explain where these people came from in a minute. The one thing I wanted to explain first, though, is what happens when you log in. So when you first get to the page, you're presented with a login screen. You log in through Twitter, and you authorize the application. What we do at that point is check all your friends and followers. We see who you have relationships with on Twitter. And then we use that to make a set of suggestions. So we have sort of a recommendation engine built in. Now there's some pump priming here. If we start with an empty community, you'll join and there'll be no one else there. So what we've done is set the system up with about 2,000 developers who are very active in the mobile world. We also selected for people who engage a lot on Twitter, meaning they mention people and they retweet a lot. The basic goal is to find people who will repeat your messages, and then others will see what you have to say and follow you. So we selected about 2,000 people first, and that's what we put into the system. Once alpha people start joining, we will put them in the foreground. We'll put them at the top of the list in all cases. So when you join, the other members will see you and start following you. And in time, you grow your following that way. The basic rule is that if you work at a steady pace, if you follow about 50 people a day, you'll get about 4 or 5 people following you back. If you do that for a year, you'll have 1,000, 1,500 people following you. You'll actually have a very strong presence on Twitter. And that will then allow you to project your messages. If you have a new app, if you're working with a new client, there are a lot of people who can both see that and repeat the message. So let me show you the basic idea of how this works. Once you've logged in, you'll see this list. As I said, these are suggested people. By default, they're in an order we call alpha rank, which is just a ranking method based on how active people are on Twitter, how many followers they have, how often they mention others. They're good people to follow. So right now I'm logged in as Alpha Software, and it's showing me people that Alpha Software is not following yet. So I can take the first person, click follow. The system followed them through the Alpha Software account. If I then look at the people that Alpha Software is following, well, demos. So I've just lost my internet.
That one's been dropping me all morning long.
Okay, back.
You may actually have to log back in.
Okay.
I did another network we use.
Okay. It's not, let's see. Okay.
So you're going to look for T mobile.
I'm just looking at, sometimes it's been putting it behind the browser window.
Oh, yeah.
So, oh, it says I'm back. Let's see if, yes, okay,
You good?
back, yes,
Okay.
it says so. Okay, so let me try that again because I don't know if I got through. So I'm going to follow Sanchit. Said followed. There. So the person I just followed through the app is now being followed by the account. Okay. One problem with Twitter is it tends to lag. They have this massively distributed database across multiple servers, and they use this wonderful euphemism they call eventual consistency. What they mean by that is eventually all the servers will sort of know what you did, but sometimes they don't. So you'll sort of see that in Twitter. So anyway, that's the basic idea. I came in, then I followed that person, they disappeared from this list. If I reload the page, right, that person does not come back. The person I followed was Sanchit Gorga. So the system is keeping track of who I followed and then consistently will show me new people. And that's one reason why we have you log in. The other thing you can do is reject people. So if I say, that person isn't of interest to me, I can reject them. And then from now on, when I look at the page, I will never be shown that person. Other people would. So over time, I can work my way down through the list. Now, to work through this list, there are other things I can do. For example, if I'm interested in SaaS people, I can search for people who have SaaS in their bio. If I'm interested in people in Boston, I can search for people who've mentioned Boston. So I can find developers who have similar interests, and I can also do it based on location. Okay? Again, right now, these are general developers, mobile developers, but in time, this community will fill with alpha people. So you'll get to meet other alpha people through this. They'll show up on your timeline, you'll show up on their timeline in Twitter, and you'll be able to start developing conversations. We also do a little bit of sorting and searching, since it really is a database app underneath. So for example, we could say, who has the most followers of this list? As I hover over people, the follower count is showing up. So I could see people in order by following count. I could say, who's the most talkative? Who tweets the most? So this way you can choose the kind of people you want to interact with. All right, now this is just the basic idea. I'll be going around, as I said, through the next 2 days, talking to people about this, trying to convince you there is value in Twitter. There certainly are hundreds of thousands of developers there, and hopefully we'll be able to build this community around this tag, AlphaDev. And then we're going to have a class tomorrow at 4:20 where we'll be talking about how to engage, how to actually work with Twitter people. All right, so we're running late on time. We won't take questions. I'll hand it over to Gene from PAN, but I'll be around the next couple of days if you do have any questions. Thank you.
Lucky enough to draw the presentation right before lunch, but we had some computer issues as well. My name is Gene Carrozza, and I'm from PAN Communications. We're a partner of Alpha Software, and over the next couple of minutes, I'm going to condense this as much as I can. I'm going to talk to you about some of the ways that you can promote not only yourself, but your company free, using some various channels. Before we begin, how many people use LinkedIn? All right, good. So I'm going to talk to you about LinkedIn first, and it's a tool that, again, is free. Most of everyone is on it, and what we're seeing is great conversion rates for people, a great way to connect with people with like interests. I'm going to talk to you about joining groups, but certainly all of the things that we talk about in the next couple of minutes, it's just a way for you to champion not only your application, the work that you're doing, your areas of expertise, and also, share the expertise of your colleagues with everyone else. And I bet you probably didn't know this, but LinkedIn has got more than 225 million members, but it's also a mechanism for when you start engaging with other people, you also using targeted updates. And by targeted updates, I mean, these are things that are interested to the people that you're connected to. So you also get more engagement. And that's really important because it's a way for you to not only build up your profile, but it's a way to go down the path of thought leadership and being seen as an expert in your industry. Another interesting thing is, we counsel clients now. People are getting a lot of leads, and they're actually securing business using LinkedIn. Some people will use LinkedIn just to connect with people, but we're here to talk about today is ways that you can use LinkedIn to help promote your business and attract partners, possibly even attract some leads. And again, the beauty of it is it's all free. So I put together a few things here, just do's and don'ts. And I'll run through these real quick. Do share links with interesting articles, websites, and video. That's a way for you, again, to showcase some of the interests that you have and share that with people with like interests. Always try to use words that grab the reader, pull them in, get them to look at some of the stuff that you're posting. Post questions. It's not just about sharing stuff, but LinkedIn also offers you the ability to engage with people by posting questions, throwing out issues, actually starting a discussion. One really good way to do that is to join like groups. And if you were to do a search on some of the groups that are interesting to you, so developer communities, what have you, there could be upwards of 40,000 members in any of these groups. So again, it's a way for you to showcase your talent, showcase some of the stuff that you're doing, and really show people what you're good at. You can even poll people and get their responses and then share that with other people. Always mention people from your company or people that you're working with. That's a good way to give them kudos for some of the hard work they're doing. And even promoting an event. Hey, this week I'm going to be in Boston at the Alpha Developers Conference. If you're around, stop by, let's get together for a drink. Stuff like that is really is really well done over LinkedIn. And like things and make sure that you comment, but only when you're adding value. One key thing is LinkedIn is like it's like the business form of social media. Twitter may be business casual and Facebook is casual. So anytime that you're communicating with people over LinkedIn, please make sure that you're keeping it professional on the up and up. A couple of things that maybe you don't want to do, and no, I'm not a doctor, but I stayed at a Best Western last night. Don't get too personal, okay? Again, that's stuff that's best suited for Facebook. Never share anything that is confidential, especially if you're working for a company or even a large company. If you're putting too many things out there that could get you into hot water, you absolutely don't want to do that. Don't talk continuously about your own products or services. It comes across as salesy and marketing, and people tend to shy away from people that do that. Don't share too frequently. People get bogged down when people are just blasting stuff out there all the time. If you're using Twitter as well, try to keep it separate. You just don't want the same content going over various channels. You want to try to customize it as much as you can. Don't abandon your account and don't feel the need to connect with everyone. That's just not something that you absolutely need to do. Just do it with folks that you have similar interests with. In terms of what to post, we just broke it into 3 very basic things, just to give you an idea of how much time it actually requires. Just to paste a link with no commentary could take a few seconds. But again, that's a way to let people know the things that you're interested in and also be able to connect with other people who have similar interests from a business standpoint. You can also post something with a little bit of insight, like, hey, I thought this article was really interesting. You can really get a good takeaway from this. I suggest you read it. And then, lastly, and this could take a little bit of thought, ask a question with a call to action, like, I'm working on this. Have you guys run into any kind of similar problem? I'd love to get your feedback. So again, we're seeing LinkedIn from a business-to-business standpoint is really helping companies, helping individuals increase their profile, show some thought leadership, and being able to help promote their business. And the best thing about it is it's free. It just requires a little bit of your time. For those of you who like to write, and by writing I don't mean pounding out code or anything like that, but if you actually like to write articles about your insights, your thoughts, maybe success stories on what you're doing with your company or some of your customers or partners, there's a variety of industry magazines that would love to hear your story. Again, this is free. You don't have to pay to get this stuff in placement. It's something that if you're interested in, you can let us know and we can help you get there. And if you don't like to write, but you do like to talk, there's also a lot of journalists out there that would love to hear your story. As long as your company says it's okay, and many of you have your own companies, so I guess that's up to you to decide. But there's a tremendous amount of channels and venues out there should you want to go down this path. Again, it's all free. Maybe not so free if you're talking about travel or hotel or something like that, but there's a lot of industry conferences out there that would be interested in hearing your story, hearing what you're doing, whether it's using the alpha technology or some projects related to that. This is just a few of them, but there's a ton of them out there. So do let us know if there's something that you'd like to present, and maybe we can help you out with that as well. Lastly, if you don't have a blog, you may want to consider starting one. Those of you that work with companies that have blogs, maybe you can join in the fun. If you wanted to start your own, offer your own insights to what you're doing, your own thought leadership, that would be a great thing as well. Again, it's a way for you to engage with other people and bring the conversation online. So to recap, use LinkedIn, join the groups. If you like to write, we can get some articles going. If you're willing to share your experience, there's a lot of reporters that are interested in hearing what you're doing. If you like to speak, there's a lot of conferences, and you can start a blog to share your thoughts. So to close up, I think I whipped through this as fast as I possibly could. Yep, I did. Feel free to connect with me on Twitter, LinkedIn, or shoot an email. I'd be happy to follow the conversation or talk to you offline. And that's it for me. Thank you.